And now it's time for the Insiders with Chuck Chvala and Scott Jensen, sponsored by the Wisconsin Counties Association and Michael Best Strategies.
Hi, I'm Chuck Chvala, former Senate Majority Leader.
And I'm Scott Jensen, former Assembly Speaker.
And we're the Insiders. So, Scott, how does the new congressman from Wisconsin, Van Orden, from over in the western part of the state, how does he go from not talking to the media, appearing at Trump's rally on January 6th, and now become a moderate, or at least someone in the realm of moderate? How does that happen? How does he make that transition?
Well, I think he's off to a good start with that pivot. I mean, essentially, first of all, he drove to Washington, D.C. on a Harley Davidson, right? Good Wisconsin thing to do. Second of all, he says, I'm going to represent my constituents. Please put me on the Ag Committee, which is very important to Western Wisconsin. He announced he was going to join the Bipartisan Problem Solvers Caucus. He apologized, or at least said he had regrets about the January 6th thing, and then met with Capitol police officers and voted for the right guy for speaker. So I think in the end, he's off to a very good start with that. And I think he's going to be able to make that shift from the rabble-rousing outsider to I'm your congressman.
I think Scott makes about as good a case as you can make for Van Orden on this. However, I think the question is, can people really believe that this is true? I think he's making the effort, but to show up on January 6th, to not talk to the media, when one of the essential things you provide as a congressman or as any elected person is to be transparent and be available, I think these are things that aren't easily gotten over. And by the way, I don't think he will ever be able to go back to not talking to the media when there's another election. I think one of the reasons that his handlers kept him from speaking with the media is that they felt that he really could not control himself. That's not a good spot to be in as a congressman, because the questions that are asked by the media are almost always something that will want to put you on the defensive, and it sounds like he's ready to go there. So do you think, Scott, that's the other question, do you think he has the temperament to be able to keep this up and not just check the boxes, as you pointed out, that he has done in DC?
I think he showed the discipline in his first couple of weeks there in office, and in that he stayed on message. He was working on that transition. And I think he showed he has that discipline. You're right. There have been moments in the past where clearly he was unleashed. But I think he has set aside the rabble rouser thing and wearing a suit and tie and says, I'm your congressman. And I think he can stick there.
All right. Well, hopefully that's true for him, and hopefully that's true for his constituents. We'll see when the next race comes around. We'll see you next time.
You've been listening to The Insiders with Chuck Chvala and Scott Jensen, sponsored by the Wisconsin Counties Association and Michael Best Strategies.